The following announcement has been paid for by the New World Order.
All right, Take 3 Wrestling Podcast coming to you December 15th, 2022. I'm your host, Ernest E.J. Christian.
You're
I'm
not
back.
the host of this show.
Yeah, allegedly.
I don't have that.
I got it. That's huddle board, right? Damn it.
That's the huddle up board. It's not the 3-count Take 3 board.
Mikey B.
I have a fax from the desk of James J. Dillon that we'll discuss shortly. I don't want to hit the fax machine too hard because James likes to send faxes still.
What year are we in now? Faxes?
That thing's old as fuck. Nobody's fixing that thing if it breaks.
Exactly. That's why I don't want to hit it too hard too quick.
Do people fax anymore? Is that still a thing?
Yes,
all?
James J.
It's still
Dillon.
a thing.
So what? Yeah, plus one.
In general, yes, it's still a thing.
I'm Fat
Jim?
Nash.
You are. Oh yeah, I didn't change my name to Fat Hollow.
We're the outsiders.
Stand by.
Stand by. Anyway, we'll have Joe on hopefully within the hour, within 2 hours, an hour from now.
He'll probably come on in the second hour. Tony Schiavone, sitting right over here to my right, because he'll probably stop by over here after work.
Yeah. Well, we got two shows to review from last week, the ROH pay-per-views, as well as the NXT takeover from last weekend.
Did you watch the ROH pay-per-view, Ernest?
No, I did not watch pay-per-view.
So.
I saw the results, but
Oh wow, you found Google.com?
Amen.
Hey, progress. That's progress.
Thank you. Hey, yep. I got a nice topic for this week about Bianca Belair. I want to discuss that about a possible maybe in the future, sometime in Ether, a heel turn. When is the time to do it? Will NXT be a legit third brand ever? And then we're gonna have Mike's really cool topic here. The Wrestlemania big board. I'll have Mike explain that to you because he actually went through the pre-show, went through the logistics, and it sounds a little complicated, but when you hear it, it'll make sense. Trust me.
Yeah, once we start doing it, I think it'll make sense.
Yeah. So let's get to the review from last week, the show from last week.
I mean, so it was a big pay-per-view weekend, of course. I'll kind of attack this. The way that we did it on 3CT this week. Like, we're not going to go through every match. We're not going to go through, both cards, because in total, there was like close to 20 matches between the two shows, between dark matches. And
the funny thing is, only 5 of them were on the NXT show.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, that's about
again. Tony Khan presents blah 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 blah.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, and obviously this part of it, the Ring of Honor one is more for me and Mike is if there's any match that is like most notable to talk about, and for me the really big one, of course, is the double dog collar match, the Briscoes and FTR. This thing should be 5, 6, 7, 8 stars. It was about as perfect as can be. I basically, I said on 3CT that it is on my list of matches for match of the year. And I mean, without cutting down the list, because I think I have between 15 and 20 matches from the year. But I'm fairly certain this one is going to make my top 5 of the year. It was that good. The stipulation made them better, which sometimes a stipulation like this, even in a singles match, can make the match worse. I thought it made it better. It was perfect. Michael?
I have it currently sitting in 4th for my match of the year. I was looking at the spreadsheet because myself and you have turned in our votes for the formal Take 3 Wrestling Awards, which
I'm almost there. I'm on my last segment.
First week in January. We'll be doing that the first
January
week.
5th. We're doing that, right? It's
Yep.
confirmed. Yep.
Yeah. So listen to the show then. It's fourth for me, so it doesn't get any points for the way that we're voting for it. Might sneak in to the top 3. I want to go back and watch the match that I have at number 3 to figure out for sure if I want to have it at 3 or not. So I don't want to spoil anything. But yeah, anything that you could say about this match. The only thing that I think may stop it from being a 8-star Tokyo Dome classic is basically, and it's not me that hates it, but I understand the Dave Meltzers of the world. When the referee bleeds in a double dog collar match, it might be too much blood.
I mean, maybe, but
if the 4 of them would have gotten busted open and bled throughout the match or whatever, fine. But the fact that the referee fucking got involved in the bleeding, that might be too much for the Meltzers of the world. But the match itself was fantastic. The finish was absolutely perfect.
Yeah,
I thought it was a great finish. The one takeaway that I'll say negatively about the match, aside from the referee bleeding, a match that good, a series of matches as good as the matches that those two teams have had in 2022. Why did we have the Ass Boys come out and ruin it?
yeah.
Like,
the post match bullshit, like completely unnecessary.
And the Ass Boys are the ones that, like, the week before, pulled the Briscoes note out of the fucking Santa sack or whatever the fuck. Like, why are the Ass Boys such a thing in this feud?
Because Tony Khan has a fucking hard on for the Attitude Era, and the only person from that era he really has in his pocket is Billy Gunn.
I understand that, but
So that's why.
I would have much rather of, FTR's doing a backstage interview segment like they were, talking about the war with the Briscoes. Have the Guns jump them during that they showed on Wednesday night.
Yeah.
That would have gotten the job done just as good as them ruining the finish where the fans are trying to acknowledge.
He can't help himself though.
It's so bad.
That is, every company has a formula. That's the AEW / Tony Khan Presents Ring of Honor formula. Is you start your next feud immediately after the last one is over.
I can only hope that the feud ends with FTR destroying the Guns to the fact that they go to Dark Elevation Dark, never to be seen again.
Yeah, it's going to be curious to see, because I think if
FTR's on the greener pastures, I think they put the Gun Club over.
I probably, and that's what I'm thinking is because I think we're seeing the FTR farewell tour to not
Yeah, that tweet was kind of weird. That tweet that I think was Dax.
Yeah, they're wrapping up Ring of Honor and New Japan and Triple
I think not to give away that they're going, but I think that was the bow of basically thank you to the Briscoe brothers, because that'll probably be the last time they share a ring with those guys.
Yeah, because Briscoe brothers are not going to be in WWE.
And the Briscoe brothers are also not going to show up on an episode of AEW.
Nope.
Warner Media has made that abundantly fucking clear.
Yeah.
Funny listening to
Enter Honor Club.
Yeah, listening to this week's episode of Grilling JR. They're talking about the DX pay-per-view after the Montreal Screwjob.
Right, for 97. Right.
And he literally, they start the first 15 minutes is talking about the Ring of Honor show. And he talks about how he doesn't know the Briscoes all that well and this, that, or the other. And like, I'm just sitting there listening to it with my AirPod, and I'm just like, probably because your owner won't fucking stand up to Warner Media and put them on the fucking show. You'd probably know who they were if he fucking did, because they're one of the best tag teams in the fucking world. But hey, you'll never know that because, Warner Media doesn't want to deal with them.
And probably in all fairness, but so I think we're seeing the beginning of the FTR farewell to everything but that isn't the WWE tour.
Wait, so you're saying that FTR AW are not long for the world?
When their contract runs out, which is later in 2023.
Okay,
I thought it was like June.
Or is it June or something like that? So like mid 2023. They are not going to re-sign with AEW.
You tell me right now, the Usos hold the titles till SummerSlam and get paired up against a random team and it's the return of them, and they win the titles and take the titles from the Usos, yes, sign me the fuck up.
Yeah,
And
without
again, this is Triple H's
Take my money.
WWE now, not Vince's anymore. So
Yep.
the sky's the limit.
exactly. Is there a match that you want to talk about, Mike?
I'd like to talk about Daniel Garcia versus Wheeler Yuta.
Her.
That was a good one. They had a great pure title match a couple months ago. This one was just as good, if not better.
I agree.
The finish was perfect.
Mm-hmm.
The knockout via elbows, and Wheeler showing that intense side of himself that he hasn't had in the past. Something that the guys with the Blackpool Combat Club have really brought out of him, it seems. I like the complete circle of Wheeler was the young boy whenever he joined the Blackpool Combat Club, and now he's taking this more vicious side that you see a John Moxley of the world have. Picking up things that he's learned from John and Regal and Brian. That's something that for the Ass Boys being wrong, the full circle of Wheeler Yuta has been done actually probably as perfect as you can if you're Tony Khan. I can't say enough positive things about the way that Wheeler Yuta has come about himself as a member of the full-fledged roster. Because I remember seeing him in Ring of Honor before Tony Khan presented Ring of Honor. And I was just kind of like, oh, okay, he's cool. But I don't think he's ever going to be anything like super relevant or super major. And I've very, very gladly have been proven wrong, especially with the latter half of 2022 that Yuta's had. Interested to see what happens with Daniel Garcia. Inevitably, I think it's him breaking away from the Jericho Appreciation Society one way or another, especially with him having to now follow the lead of one Sammy fucking Guevara.
Ugh.
Horrible human being.
Yeah. So I'm interested to see what happens with that. I'm interested to see if maybe Garcia becomes a member of the Blackpool Combat Club because he was kind of like a fringe, but he was kind of still with the JAS.
Yeah.
Maybe this is a thing where we inevitably get Garcia as the newest member of the Blackpool Combat Club, and maybe we get a Yuta Garcia tag team. Kicking people's asses. I think that'd be fun. I don't know what's next for Wheeler Yuta in the pure title. Obviously, I don't think it's Daniel Garcia. I think Yuta's going to be more on Ring of Honor while Garcia stays on AEW Dynamite. So maybe it's Dalton Castle. Maybe it's somebody else. Interested to see what happens. I think with the talk of Honor Club, I think this has a few more questions than answers when it comes to what's next for Tony Khan Presents Ring of Honor. I know you guys talked about it a little bit tonight. I was driving home from work. That's why I wasn't able to comment as much on the situation. I love the fact that they're bringing back Honor Club. I love the fact that they have the old library. I hate the fact that it's like, hey, by the way, this is where we're going to put our TV show. I'll pay for Honor Club to be able to finally have the full library because me and Joe had actually talked about at the beginning of the year starting a ROH themed podcast. We were going to name it Rewatch of Honor. We were going to go back and watch all the shows in order.
Now it's
So
possible.
this would make this immensely cheaper because
Yeah.
you got to try to, because Joe used to have most of the DVDs and then they were in a storage locker. The storage locker basically doesn't exist anymore. So those DVDs are gone.
Oh,
So he lost all of his ROH collection. So
sucks.
so he had started little by little buying them on eBay when we could find them for cheap. And we had gotten like the first like 6 or 7 shows. And I kind of told Joe, I was like, well, let's pump the brakes and see what Tony decides to do with ROH. Because if Tony's going to make a streaming platform where we can watch it like we can all the NXT takeovers, let's just wait and see how far along we get before we go too far down because I don't want to have the first 7 episodes and be like, all right, guys, you'll hear the 8th episode in 3 months whenever we find the DVD for the 8th show.
Right.
That'll really kill the steam of a podcast.
Okay.
So literally like that, like I'm excited for that. I hate the fact that they're still going to make you pay full price for current pay-per-views. I hate the fact that you have to wait 3 months to fucking watch them.
Right. And that's my problem with Honor Club. Like that is my only issue with it. Like I think it's great they're bringing it back. It's fantastic. You get the whole library. because really, if you think about it, when the WWE Network first came out, you had the full library of WWE video content, and you had the pay-per-views, and you had weekly NXT, which, like, let's be honest, Ring of Honor, in a way, it's obviously not the same thing. It's not your developmental, but Ring of Honor is the quote-unquote NXT to AEW. It's the owner's side project, basically. So I don't necessarily hate that that's where Ring of Honor TV will be. I hate the fact, because it's so dumb that you're gonna make people who subscribe to your service pay $50, so $200 a year on top of $120 per year just to see your pay-per-views, and then they can't even see them on demand immediately after. You gotta wait 3 months.
That's
so
horrible.
if you pay $50 to see Final Battle 2022, and you're paying $10 a month for Honor Club, you're telling me I can't watch Final Battle a second time until fucking March? Sorry. That's the part that's the problem.
Right. They're hoping the library satiates the gap between the 3 months.
Okay, so the library will work to an extent, and it will, because
And the weekly TV.
the purest Ring of Honor fans will want to go back and watch shows they can't get on DVD anymore. I get it. But, and I don't know if it was Ryan or if it was Tim that made this comment during 3CT about, if you pay for the year in advance.
Well, Ryan and I came to that point.
Yeah.
I was like, because he was like, figure out a way to let your subscribers watch the pay-per-views on. I said, okay, so if you're a monthly subscriber, you don't get to watch the pay-per-views on Honor Club.
Maybe you get a code or whatever where you can get it for $20
discount or something.
$40.
Right. I said, if you pay, so right now it's $120 a year at $10 a month. Do a $100 subscription.
Pay $100 now.
You pay at I mean, you can do it at any time, but you pay for an entire year at one time, $100.
Correct.
Those people get to watch the pay-per-views through Honor Club. Give an incentive to shell out the whole
Absolutely.
ducat at one time. Because here's the deal. Don't get me wrong. I have gone back and I have watched old shows. Obviously, we've done watch-alongs here and stuff like that. Now, I don't pay for Peacock now anyway because I get it with my TV. But when I had the WWE Network, like, I would go back and watch other programming. I would watch the original programming. But I didn't buy the network to watch old programming. I paid $10 a month for WWE Network to watch the monthly pay-per-views. I get Ring of Honor doesn't do monthly pay-per-views. But if Honor Club gave me a pay-per-view option to watch the pay-per-views, I would subscribe to Honor Club. So I wouldn't have to deal with Bleacher Report and $50 every time. And like, are we going to do a watch along so we don't have to spend $50 to watch a pay-per-view in 2022? But like, I can tell you this, I'm not going to ever subscribe to Honor Club if there's not an option to watch the pay-per-views. I am not invested enough at this point in Tony Khan Presents Ring of Honor to subscribe to Honor Club.
Makes sense.
I probably will, just to, if me and Joe decide to relaunch.
Well, yeah, especially for that reason.
Plus, you guys are very much invested in Ring of Honor in a way that.
Well, I mean, I'm also one of those guys. Okay, so I watched a lot of Ring of Honor.
Right. Yeah. See, I didn't.
But there's a chunk of old Ring of Honor that, like, I read results, I saw clips, but I never saw full shows because they came to Manassas, Virginia, like once every 4 months, and I wasn't buying 6 months worth of DVDs when they came to the show. Like, I'm sorry,
Right.
I was a fucking 22-year-old kid working a retail job just trying to make enough money to make my fucking car payment. Like, I would pay $20 for a general admission seat to go see Ring of Honor, but I wasn't fucking making, enough money to go shell out however much money on 6 months worth of DVDs to catch up. That's just how it was. So, like, being able to go back and watch certain matches, like, I'm going to tell you right now, I'll give you guys the fucking login, but if I can find the Steven Generico ladder match from the final battle where they had that match, that's a fucking watch along. And that will happen on this fucking show. I'm telling you right now. It's one of the greatest fucking ladder matches I've seen in a long time. It's a war. So yeah, just be ready for that. But I think they got to do something for the Honor Club, especially for Ring of Honor. Like, I get it. Don't give us a discount on the AEW shows. Don't give us a discount on whatever. Don't put the AEW shows on there. Whatever. I get it. But like, if you're only going to do 4 Ring of Honor shows a year, how hard is it to give the loyalists of your thing break on the live show on the pay-per-views? Because it's really raking it over the coals at this point. You're already making more money off of us than you have in the past by charging, for Honor Club. So it's like,
I'll put it this way: if Vince McMahon did that, he would be called a dirty businessman.
Yeah,
correct.
The only other thing I want to touch on from Final Battle is I was unbelievably shocked that they actually had Claudio win. The match was fine.
Yeah,
actually, the match was better than I expected it to be.
Yeah, I was going to say the match was a lot better than the fucking four-way.
That shows you how good Claudio is. Jericho put his working boots on. He put them on again last night on AEW, by the way. Action Andretti getting his 1, 2, 3 kid moment was freaking spectacular.
That's somebody just drafted him in our fantasy wrestling league.
Nice. But not only Claudio winning, I thought the tap out during the swing was spectacular because first off, nobody saw it happen.
Nope.
You just hear the bell ring, and I was like, "A Texas screw job? What the hell just happened?" And then you realize that and commentary did their job by pointing out the tap out. So, because here's the thing, we said it last week when we were previewing this, is for pretty much since Claudio came to AEW / our Ring of Honor, we were told that part of the reason why is because he wanted to be a world champion. And so far, they haven't presented him as such. And he's had a couple chances here and there, like he did in WWE. So here's one more opportunity right out of the gate to make Claudio a world champion. And if you don't, you're running the risk of proving WWE right. So kudos to Tony and company for doing what I thought was the right thing, and putting the title on Claudio. But a good show. I thought.
What would you rate it?
I thought the undercard dramatically underwhelmed. It was very botchy. The crowd sucked. Production sucked.
The show will always get held up by the dog collar match and the world title match.
Yeah,
the rest of the show was kind of just mid.
Yuta, Briscoes, in the main event.
Basically the three major titles in Ring of Honor were
even Samoa Joe Juice was
That's why I said the 3 major titles.
Yeah,
because I don't count the TV title being better than the pure wrestling title, because the pure title is old school Ring of Honor to me. So I'll always hold that on a higher standard than the TV title. And even the women's match wasn't very great.
It wasn't
very bleh.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was the fact that Mercedes basically hasn't wrestled in however long. It just didn't seem very. And they've had great matches because they wrestled in Shimmer before, and their match was infinity times better.
Yeah.
This match. So I don't know. I don't know. Off night. I don't know if jitters. I don't know if Mercedes not working in a couple months kind of compounded together. My one takeaway, I guess, from this show, and we talked about it, me and you, Jim, whenever we did the preview on last week's show. The more things change, the more they stay the same when it comes to Ring of Honor. The only title that I really feel like didn't change hands was the TV title.
Yeah.
New 6-man tag champs, new tag champs, new world champ, new women's champ, new pure champ. I feel like we're just okay. So all those people that lost title belts, with the exception of probably Mercedes and Dalton and the boys, they're either going to AEW or they're not going to be a part of Tony Khan Presents Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
So I feel
they set their roster marks with
I think that's the thing that looking at it, I think that they just kind of made it abundantly clear, like, this is our roster. These are the guys that we want to be the champions moving forward, and that's just the way we went with it. And I think that that's the one positive that I'll take out of what Tony did. It's like, this is our roster. These are our champs. Like, seeing Yuta and Claudio on the show with John is one thing, but like, are we going to get that distinct like Ring of Honor AEW, or is it still going to be like, well, Claudio and Yuta can stay over here in the AEW pool, and like maybe we'll have someone over here in the Ring of Honor, like, make it clear. Just make it clear for me.
Yeah.
That's
I think that's where they're heading. I think that's where they're heading. All right. NXT Deadline. Obviously a much smaller card, 5 matches on their side. There's not necessarily a specific match that I want to talk about, but for me, I love the Iron Survivor Challenge. I thought the explanation of it was clunky. I thought like the way the rules were written out was a little bit clunky, but in practice, I absolutely loved it. I was not bored by either match at any point. And I am looking forward to hopefully this becoming an annual thing. In NXT.
Do you think it becomes an annual thing, or do you think they use it more than once a year?
If you do it more than once a year, I think you run the risk of it being overdone. So for me,
I personally, I would move it to Vengeance Day. That's how I would determine who would be the number one contender for the WrestleMania show.
But do they do a WrestleMania weekend like pay-per-view?
They're doing it Saturday afternoon before night 1. World's
that's a good point. Yeah. Then that's fine.
I'm just saying that's what I would do. I don't think
I would have no problem with that. So like we introduce it now, next year do it at Vengeance Day.
That's what I'm saying. I just personally, if you're gonna do it once a year, I think that makes the most sense, because you got to go through a grueling match to get to that point at WrestleMania. That was just my kind of takeaway. The match itself was awesome. I enjoyed the match. I thought it was a good idea. I think it was a good concept. I believe they decided to not call it the Infinity Gauntlet because they didn't want to get sued by Marvel. So we had to come up with a really long name for some reason. That's probably my one negative. I said that on last week's show. The name is just.
Obviously they always will say men's or women's, but I think Iron Survivor Challenge is fine, especially now that we know what it is.
Correct.
Or hell, take challenge off of and just call it the Iron Survivor.
Yeah, I think that works better than Iron Survivor Challenge.
Yeah, because really, I mean, we have an Iron Man match. You have a Elimination Chamber. Like, I don't think challenge needs to be used. Like, all wrestling matches are challenges.
The Limoncello Chamber match. I'm like I said, I thought the match was good. I thought all of them were entertaining. I enjoy that each match was done differently.
Very much. Yeah.
I think that's a key. Grayson Waller running for his life in the last 20 seconds and breaking up pins.
Oh, fucking brilliant. And the fact that he came in and hit a double finisher and got 2 falls right away. Fucking loved that.
Yep. Perfect.
Yeah, the difference in the 2 matches was great. Yeah, I love him, especially because he's a heel.
Yeah, no,
Why wouldn't a heel just run away?
I actually kind of called that a little bit on the show, but I had it being like Cora Jade attempting to do that, like running, like trying to break up pins, try to break up things so that she could retain her win or be as close to the win as she could be. I'm also glad that they didn't do the thing that I thought that they were going to do, which was have somebody tie so that we would be forced to sit through this is what we do in case of a tie.
Yeah.
I get it. They said it's like sudden victory or whatever. But is it sudden victory with all 5 of them in the ring, or is it sudden victory between the people that are tied? Glad we didn't find out on fucking.
Yeah, I think if it comes to that, it would just be the people that are tied, because why?
Yeah, so if there's 3 of them are tied at 2, then you're gonna have the 3 of them, and the other 2 are gonna be out.
Yeah, correct.
Which I'm okay with, but I'm glad we didn't find out on Saturday. I'm glad we got
Yeah, I think if you introduce something like that on the very first one, you're convoluting it.
We kind of said that, but the Iron Man match went 5 minutes long on the first try too.
Well, yeah.
I'm
Also a very different time and era, by the way.
Oh yeah, I'm aware of that. Trust me.
So
Also, I'm gonna rename that from the Iron Man match to the Iron Rest Hold because there was a lot of that in that match.
there was.
But what I'll say, match wise, I felt like it like the, and I'm not saying this because of who the champion is, obviously Braun Beaker, but a match of that magnitude, like I would have much rather seen them finish with one of the Iron Survivor matches. Obviously, Waller coming out and jumping Braun after the match to tie it all up makes sense. But I felt like I would have been like, you could have started with the men's match, had Waller do that as in the co-main event spot, and then close with the women's match, and it really wouldn't have missed anything for me. Because you send the fans home happy with Roxanne Perez celebrating her win, rather than Grayson Waller standing there with the NXT title. But I'm that could be splitting hairs on my end, which is fine. And obviously, the fact that they fucking pulled the trigger and put the tag titles on the New Day.
Yeah, I love that.
That was cool. Yeah.
Oh, Ernest, you're actually talking this topic? I didn't know. 3 words.
I did see that happen. I did see that thing happen.
Were
you surprised though about that? Were you surprised?
I called it. I thought.
Yeah, you did call it.
I said it too, but I mean, we said it, but then we also said we would not be surprised if. Is Joe trying to get in the show or something? He just texted me,
Right now. He says he's gonna let
yeah,
me in. The link's up there. The link's ready up. Like not even. There it is.
Hello.
Oh, the multitask master.
Hello,
yeah,
multitask
I'm not done at work, but I'm also literally the only person at the restaurant. So I was like, fuck it. I can finish my closing shit while also sort of at least listening in and occasionally commenting. Basically, I'll be Ernest.
I was going to say, you've talked more in the 42 seconds you've been on this show than Ernest has for the last 30 minutes. So trust me, bud, you've been missed.
I mean, that. No surprise. No surprise.
It wasn't that we were surprised that the New Day won the tag titles. It was more that they actually pulled the trigger and let them win the tag titles. It is more of the, oh shit, they actually did it kind of thought process to me. Oh, congratulations to the Niners, West champions. Ernest will have them at number 2 this week in the power rankings. Brock Purdy proven himself.
Had a good game. Doing his job. He's doing his job. Let me ask you a question though. What is this going to be bridged to for obviously New Day? This is obviously just a kind of reset for New Day, for the NXT. What is going to be a bridge for this? Who's going to set up?
I don't think it's a reset for the New Day. I think it's a reset.
No, for the NXT.
But it also does something that a lot of teams have done. They've now held the Triple Crown.
Right.
And Jim, myself, and Joe talked about it on last week's show. Vengeance Day is a standalone PLE in Charlotte. What's a way to get wrestling fans out to see a show that you may not have the greatest knowledge of the roster?
Everybody else on the card.
Guys
like the New Day, maybe a Dolph Ziggler, somebody like that on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I like the New Day. I like Dolph Ziggler. Let's go check this out. And now you have those fans filling that stadium or that arena to see Braun Breaker take on Grayson Waller or Carmelo Hayes or whomever he's going to fight at that show. Like, Oh, okay, cool. Now those guys get to be in front of 8,000 to 10,000 people.
So this title rank can last all the way through the winter into the spring.
I don't see them dropping the title before Vengeance Day, personally.
No, they're going to be champions at Vengeance Day, whether they lose it there or at Worlds Collide.
Right, yeah,
that's the question.
I'll say this: part of what inspired my topic for later tonight is this: is New Day winning the tag titles, and I think that will help kind of guide the conversation. I'm assuming you guys already teased what my topic is, but certainly if you are trying to make NXT more of a standalone brand again and not just developmental on TV, then New Day winning the tag titles, that's a step in the right direction towards doing that.
I mean, honestly, do we want to just kind of start that topic now? Like,
Did you guys finish all the reviews?
Yeah, we
like,
started
I mean,
with Ring of Honor.
touched on Ring of Honor. Is there anything else, Ernest or Mike, that you guys want to touch on from NXT?
Not that we can't talk about during this topic.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Let's do it. Swerve it.
Well, I'm fine with that. I mean, I just kind of explained it exactly. Not that long ago, in a time when Vince McMahon was still handing out non-disclosure agreements.
In a world where Vince McMahon raped a bitch.
Pretty much,
Jesus.
a couple of them.
You can
Back
say that
in those days when NXT was branded black and gold, there was definitely a moment where it felt like, oh, hey, they're trying to make this a legit third brand. They're trying to make this stand up with Raw and SmackDown as a major part of the overall umbrella of WWE programming. And we even had that one Survivor Series that Mike and I were at in Chicago where it was NXT versus Raw versus SmackDown. I don't know if y'all remember, but I know I do. NXT ended up on top in that whole little tussle. So there was at least a moment where NXT was a viable, real third brand. And then it was gone. And then we had a bioluminescent turn of events, and it's been more developmental since then. But of course,
Right.
the regimes have changed. The powers are different. And the guy who originally made NXT its own brand and tried to make it compete with the others is now the guy in charge of the whole damn company creatively. So my question is to you guys, do you think WWE is going to try and make NXT a major third brand again? Or maybe even, do you think they should? Or do you think being developmental on TV is actually enough? You guys go ahead.
Does anybody want to lead off?
Start.
Well, let me ask you this, because I limped into NXT in late at the same time era you were saying, Joe, late 2019 when Survivor Series, when they actually won the competition to Raw and SmackDown, and then COVID happened 3 months later. So
Right.
can we argue that? Can we argue that if COVID doesn't happen, that we might have been there already? Maybe not on par with Raw and SmackDown. But as we were saying back 3 years ago, we started this podcast saying this. I think we done this a couple times on the podcast. Could it have been at least a distant third brand?
If
that could be
it wasn't for the pandemic, I do believe NXT is more a recognized third brand, like a recognized third brand, like they really, because I mean, again, you came off of them beating Raw and SmackDown at Survivor Series in 2019. So, like, to me, that was WWE telling you that they viewed NXT, again, you're never going to be the same as Raw and SmackDown, but that NXT was capable of standing, quote unquote, on its own.
And to boot, that's when the competition between them and AEW started also at that time.
Right. That
on TV.
Yeah, which is, I think, part of the reason why NXT won at Survivor Series that year.
Right.
Because you were 1 month approximately after the first episode of Dynamite. So I think we would be there. Obviously the pandemic changed things. The way I think NXT is going to be treated, I think NXT is going to be treated as and I think the switch from the bioluminescent logo to the white and gold logo, even though like the Performance Center is kind of this hybrid of the two, I think NXT is going to be treated as a serious program, but it's not. I don't think it's ever going to hit the heights that it once was. I think them starting to do their premium live events away from the Performance Center is the biggest that NXT is ever going to be. I don't think it's going to be a touring brand. I don't think it's going to be like a huge touring TV brand. I don't think like TV is never going to be outside of the performance center. Like I don't think it's going to be competition.
It never was during its height, anyways.
No, but the pandemic stopped the possibility of.
I don't think it was the pandemic stopping it. I think we have to think about what started it.
What started what?
I don't think that it would have been NXT versus Raw versus SmackDown at Survivor Series if it wasn't for Prince Alia Akbar keeping the fucking plane in Saudi Arabia, forcing NXT to bring guys to
Adam Cole and those, yes,
Adam Cole versus
Good
Daniel
point.
Bryan for the NXT title on that episode of SmackDown.
SmackDown, right?
See, I'll give you that. That's valid. But then also in 2020, like a few months later, they obviously, and it ended up happening in front of only one fan, the largest fan of all WrestleManias. But they worked an NXT title match onto WrestleMania.
Mhm.
Like that Charlotte and Rhea Ripley match was planned to be part of WrestleMania when there was supposed to be fans and it was supposed to be one night.
Mhm.
It's just it worked out that it ended up being not in front of fans and on one of the nights.
I mean, you also had the Keith Lee Brock Lesnar stare down in the Rumble.
Exactly right. So like there are elements of it.
Right.
Like yes, you might be right that it ended up happening because of a situation that they couldn't control. But once it ended up happening, they obviously were willing to just run with it. Like they obviously found something about it that they were like, yeah, we can do this. We like this.
Well, Jim made the point. I don't necessarily know that it was supposed to happen if it wasn't for the plane being held. But once it happened and the Adam Cole thing was like, oh, this is their champion. This guy can really go. This is his faction. This is where he does his stuff. Oh, and by the way, AEW is going up against them head to head. Maybe, just maybe, with the positive reaction of the Daniel Bryan versus Adam Cole match, we should keep this going and see how much momentum we can get behind it. People started watching more. People started being more interested in AEW, in NXT, and then it kept going. Then the Keith Lee thing happened. Then we were supposed to have the matches at WrestleMania. That's what I'm getting at. Is I'm not saying we would have never have gotten there. I don't think we would have gotten there and gotten the things that we got leading into the pandemic had it not been for the plane being held, because we would have never have had Adam Cole versus Daniel Bryan.
That's fair. I mean, regardless of the reason of how it started, like it became a third brand and then the pandemic ended it. And yeah, I don't think you're going to get it to that point again, partially because in Nick Khan's WWE, you're not going to go out and sign every huge indie star to build a super indie brand as NXT.
No, because you had an opportunity to go hire somebody, and he signed with Impact Wrestling tonight.
What would you consider
That's
their
fine.
peak?
Look, if Jordan Grace wasn't leaving Impact Wrestling and to go to NXT, Gresham wasn't going to sign in NXT anyway.
Was there peak 2019, you think, or before that?
What, NXT?
Yeah.
Late 2019, early 2020.
Okay.
No, I would say that their peak is more the Gargano Ciampa stuff.
I was gonna say
2016, 2017 then.
Well, yeah, like this may be speaking from just a personal preference point, but like, when did we start going to not even takeovers, Mike? When did we just start doing like some tapings at Full Sail? Because like whenever we went and we saw the steel cage match, and we were there when Ciampa won the belt too.
Yep.
Like to me, that was like peak NXT. Like they had really hit their stride. The roster was kind of crazy, amazing. I think Jim had just said it was, super indie, like to the stars. And honestly, like to that point, I think one interesting part about that though is right now in the year 2022, I don't know how many guys are out there. Like the indie scene isn't quite as full of oh, hey, there's a whole bunch of huge potential future stars the way it was in 2015 or 2016 when we were, getting, you had that one point when like the class of new NXT people was like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn and Finn Balor and, all these guys who we were all, those of us who were indie fans and New Japan fans and stuff, we had our like, oh shit, I can't believe they actually finally signed these guys. I don't know that I have a lot of guys right now on the indie scene that would make me go, oh shit, I can't believe they finally signed this guy. There's people from AEW that would make me go like that. There's people from Impact that would make me go like that. But it's not the same thing as having like Ring of Honor as a feeding system back in 2015. I don't think that the scene exists to that same level anymore, personally.
So, to answer Joe's question, early 2018 is where I believe me and him believe was probably where the peak was, because that was Ciampa attacking Gargano in Philly, costing him at the end of the show with the crutch, returning, led to all the matches with him, the match in New Orleans, the unsanctioned match, him winning the title in July from Aleister Black. I think like that's kind of like the peak for me. The peak from a exposure standpoint is obviously the end of 2019, early 2020, because that's whenever it probably had the most eyes on it from a wrestling perspective because of the push that it was getting as being part of the main focal point with obviously with Survivor Series. And not to take anything away from anything, but it obviously had the first WG match in WWE history. So that's one of those where that'll always be a thing that Triple H brought his baby, the old WG, to NXT rather than giving it to Vince to put on the main roster. So I think when I think of NXT, I personally don't think it'll ever get to a third brand. And I don't think it needs to, because I think the problem is when you go back and look at 2018 NXT, they kept Johnny Gargano there for too long. They kept Tommaso Ciampa there for too long. They kept Aleister Black there for too long. They kept guys there for too long to where they were only feuding with the same two guys to the point where you were like, yeah, I'm kind of over this. I kind of want to see Johnny go feud with The Miz. I kind of want to go see him feud with Dolph Ziggler. I kind of want to go see him feud with guys on the main rosters that they may have good matches for. We talk about the Undisputed Era. Would love to see them feud against, teams like the New Day and stuff like that we never got to see because they stayed in NXT because we tried to make it its own brand. The problem is like you can't have only 5 guys in the main event picture and just kind of circle the drain with the 5 of them and never put anybody else in that picture. Like Andrade moved up. Drew McIntyre showed up in NXT, won the title, lost it, then went up to the main roster, where he should have been probably from the very beginning. So that's where I don't necessarily know that I think long-term it'll ever be a successful third brand, because here's the thing. Braun Breaker has done everything that he can do in the black and gold, white and gold, bioluminescent, your mom, his mom, Jesus's mom brand in the world. It's time for him to lose the title and go to the main roster, because what's he going to do? He's going to fall back and feud with Apollo Crews again.
Right.
I'm good. I mean, they have just fine matches. Nothing negative about either one of them.
Can I just say, when you were just naming all that, I don't know, it's Christmas time, and in my head, all I heard was black and gold, white and gold, bioluminescent. Okay, go.
Oh, Jesus.
I mean, I'm not mad at that, actually.
See, I can make G-rated jokes also.
Proud of you.
I have my moments when I'm not busy fucking dead bodies.
There it is.
And we're back.
And there it is, boys. we found
short-lived. You tried. Short-lived.
Short. Exactly.
So, okay, if you don't think
at least you tried.
Yeah.
if you don't think that they're trying to make it a third brand, then like what's the purpose of like putting the titles on the New Day?
I think it's just to give eventual shine to whoever beats them.
Yeah.
And then, because I mean, ultimately the goal of NXT which kind of was lost in the great super indie war of 2018. What is to
Dark
build
days they were.
WWE superstars. Also, I think that's the episode title, the great super indie war of 2018.
Yes.
Marking it down.
But like I think what got lost there is like the purpose of your developmental brand is
To
to
develop?
build superstars on your SmackDown and Raw. And while yes, like there are wrestlers that came through NXT that have gone on to big success. Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, Drew McIntyre now, of course. I mean, I know like Rollins, Roman, Ambrose for a time came from like the original NXT, but like if you look at that, if you look at the biggest years of NXT, you don't have a huge crop of like major, at least on the men's side, WWE superstars now. So I think there was a point where they kind of forgot to develop superstars. And I think that's what we're getting back to now. So you put AJ Styles down with what was it? Was it Waller or was it Chase?
No, it's Waller.
It was Waller. So you put AJ Styles down with him. You have Ziggler do a run down there. Now you have the New Day go down and you're getting some shine there. So you do this. So first off, there's valuable teaching lessons that these main roster superstars can give. And when somebody ends up beating them, then you go, oh shit, they beat the New Day and won the titles off of them. So then you can, when they come up, guess what? That could be their first feud in the main roster. Like, what if the New Day have the tag team titles? And, whoever it is that ends up beating them finally comes up to the main roster and goes, hey, we took the titles off of you once before. We're coming to do it again. There's your first feud. Like, so I like, to me, I think using Raw and SmackDown superstars to help the development of NXT superstars, it can potentially get more eyes on the NXT product. It is going to sell tickets to Vengeance Day. That's part of it. Mm-hmm. And also to eventually, hopefully, build new stars moving forward. I think it is like a threefold reason.
I mean, do you think that they even have like the right roster of people right now though? Like how many of the current NXT stars, like let's say at the end of the day, they wanted to try and do another 2019, let's make these guys competitive, let's have a Survivor Series like that, yada, yada, yada. Do they even have a roster right now where that feels viable?
I think they have 5 to 10 men that could be competitive in a 5-on-5 elimination match.
Okay.
Give me Carmelo Hayes, Braun Breaker, Grayson Waller, Tyler Bate,
Cameron Grimes,
probably. Tony Marinara. As much as we like to make fun of him, I mean, I think he plays his character well enough that he would be a good part of a 5-on-5 men's team. Representing them.
Okay.
Let me get our logo off here. So, here's the NXT roster right now.
I think the Creed brothers will be just fine when they go into the main roster. The women's division, you have, Alba Fire, you have Blair Davenport, Cora Jade.
Oh, Dragunov.
They've fucked up Dragunov so hard since he's come
up. I think they're just keeping him around for when NXT Europe becomes a thing.
I forgot he was still in NXT.
They've fucked him up so much, even like JD McDonough, or as Interim Art calls him, JG Wentworth, at least he's been used the right way. Dragunov, really, I don't feel has been used the right way.
Roderick Strong.
Hurt still.
He's still banged up.
I was like, I forgot that Roderick Strong existed.
Jeep Wagoneer.
Right. I forgot. God, he is such an awkward looking motherfucker.
He came.
Jeep Wagoneer. Good Lord.
I mean, their women's division, in all honesty, is pretty fucking low.
Yeah, and I mean they're developing their men's roster, but their women's roster is loaded, man.
I mean, hell, the five in the Iron Survivor, the other two from Toxic Attraction that didn't get fired.
Wendy
Not-
Chu,
Yeah, Tiffany Stratton's character has been good.
yeah, she's been getting better for sure.
Tatum Paxley and Ivy Nile in the tag division going up against Katana and Kaden. They've been
Do
good.
they still have what's her name that was like the champion forever in NXT UK?
Miko Satomura.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There.
she's on
There.
the screen right now.
On the screen, yeah.
I don't think she's here though. I think she's like either doing it like she's training the girls if she's here, or she's back in Japan right now.
Indy Hartwell. I mean, dude, the women's roster is it's an embarrassment of riches right now in NXT.
Yeah, like you could bring up 5 of those women right now to the main roster to help bolster the women's division, and NXT wouldn't be hurt by it.
No.
You bring up.
We also have a couple of developmental classes that are in the performance center working their way towards NXT.
Let's just say from a standpoint, Gigi and JC, Alba Fire.
Let me just interrupt to say real quick, because I feel like I'm only going to get to say this at least, well, maybe once a week. We'll see, but I'm at least going to get to say it right now. Mike, I'm coming, and I have chocolate cake.
Ooh. Sign me up.
Why am I coming?
Yeah, I'm going to stay on with you guys until I lose you in the elevator, but then I'll be in person.
Like, if you literally bring up the 2 members of Toxic Attraction, you bring up Indy Hartwell, you bring up Kaylee Ray, and you bring up, Nikita Lyons, you bring up Wendy Chu, Zoe Starks. Like, you still got enough down in the women's division down there to where you're not hurting. But you put a Toxic Attraction to go up against Damage Control. You put a Wendy Chu against Bianca Belair. The matchups are just so much fresh. And, and personally, nothing against the champion on the SmackDown roster right now, but I wouldn't feed any of the fucking NXT women to her because fuck her. She's
I mean,
god awful.
I'm surprised you said nothing against.
Fuck her.
Yeah, actually, I'm kind of surprised you started that with nothing against.
Right? Yeah. Like everything against.
The whole back. The whole back now.
Fuck. I mean, even the men's division, guys like Cameron Grimes, Braun Breaker, inevitably when he loses the title. Carmelo Hayes has been ready.
Carmelo Hayes is main roster ready yesterday.
7 months ago.
Yeah.
It's a matter of when at this point.
Like, here's the example. Carmelo Hayes and Braun Breaker are the bioluminescent version of Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. Ben Ready can't find anything for them, or we don't think they're ready.
Tomato chips.
And here's the thing. If Triple H, and I'm going to give Triple H the benefit here, if Triple H knows something that we obviously don't because we're not in the day-to-day meetings, maybe it's Carmelo Hayes isn't cutting great promos in class. Maybe it's Braun Breaker isn't getting reactions that he wants from a main roster guy. Stuff that we don't know.
Or they're waiting like I've thought for Raw, SmackDown after Mania, kind of season premiere, get some new faces on, the way it used to be.
Yeah, that's a possibility as well. Because here's the deal. I think a Triple H run WWE has much more long-term planning of WrestleMania than Vince McMahon's has in a long time.
I mean, I think he already has
everything
planned out for WrestleMania for this year.
Yeah.
And probably matches that he wants to have at SummerSlam already pre-booked in his head.
I'd say I'd be willing to bet that about 75 to 80% of this year's WrestleMania card is on paper and pretty much locked in barring injury.
I was going to say, I would say that all of his main events are on paper.
Oh, main events are locked in. Openers are locked in.
It might be, okay, do we want to put the title, the IC title on this guy and give them a match against so-and-so?
Right.
It's nuts and bolts. It's not, hey, we need to put up a new wall.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, that's what I'm saying. The majority, like, basically all you're doing at this point is picking out paint colors.
Yeah. Do we want
for
the
WrestleMania?
red, or do we want
SummerSlam. I bet he has the main event, the opener.
He probably has the he probably has the title matches and the women's title matches thought of.
Yeah, they're penciled in.
Yeah, he's got the 3 titles that he wants defended on the show, and his idea, it's, are we going to be able to get there?
Yeah.
There's one thing though I will say. I'm trying not to talk too loud because I'm outside. Which is not easy for me, not talking too loud. Anyway, I will say one thing that's been striking me about current NXT as I've watched more and more of it. I don't know that I feel like a lot of the newer gimmicks and a lot of the newer characters feel like they're ever going to translate over to Raw or SmackDown. Like, I don't know. Like, there's certain ones, like, I don't see Scripps being on Raw. You know, not with that character, not with that gimmick, you know, like maybe Axiom, maybe. And I think the women's division is different. I think most of those would be okay. But I don't know, like, there's a definite aspect of it where it's like, if this is supposed to be developmental, like, we're almost back in the same original problem, which is like, okay, but what are you developing if these guys won't work on the main roster?
Well, I think you have to approach NXT the same way minor league sports are to Major League Baseball, to, you know, the NHL and all of that. You are going to sign and start developing players that you know are never going to be, barring an emergency. Like, you're going to have guys in your feeder system that are never going to be NHL ready.
I mean, I think
they're going to be great they're going to be great in the AHL, and they may be career AHLers.
I think the Major League Baseball terminology.
Well, I mean, it's the same.
What I'm saying is you can go 3 for 10 and still be a Hall of Famer. So if you're going to fail in, you know, one gimmick, if the second gimmick takes off, awesome, you're a Hall of Famer in baseball terminology. Like, you're going to fail at things. Scripps might be a failure in the long term, but if it turns into Reggie being something else afterwards and it's a home run afterwards, like, okay, we found out that he can't be some guy with some stupid name and a mask. Like, we struck out here, but we hit a home run in my next at bat. I think that's the thing that NXT has to do here. You know, Brutus and Julius Creed have hit a home run as part of Diamond Mine. They would succeed in Alpha Academy. So if you put them in Alpha Academy, you're like, oh, okay, we know that they can do it because of what they did in Diamond Mine. You're not going to go put them in, you know, colorful outfits like the alleged FTR bullshit that Vince wanted to put them in. Like, you're just not doing that because you've hit a home run with what worked with the Creed brothers. Like, you're not going to say, fuck it, let's do something different now.
Right.
You know, so that's kind of where I'm at when it comes to, you know, gimmicks and shit like that. Like, you can fail in NXT and be okay. You know, you can't fail when you bring these guys up to the main roster and they're out in front of 25, 30,000 people. Like, you can't fail because when you fail, you lose.
Yeah, and like I said, I think too, you're gonna have people in NXT that you know are never going to end up in the main roster. There's guys that you know, every Major League Baseball team, every NHL team, every NBA team signs that they know are not going to get above AA, that are never going to get above the AHL, that are never going to get above the G League. Like,
and for a lot of guys, that's okay. Honestly,
yeah.
Ciampa didn't want to leave NXT at all.
I mean, here's the deal, man. Like, 40 minutes from my house is the Giant Center in Hershey. It's the home of the Hershey Bears. That's making some feedback is driving me insane.
Yeah,
but it's one of the longest. They've been around since the 1930s. Like, it is one of the premier minor league hockey teams in the world, in North America. Like, if you're not going to make it to the NHL, like, guys will absolutely want to play here. So like,
Correct.
if you're not going to make it to AEW, or maybe you're not going to make it to WWE and get that WrestleMania moment, that NXT moment's going to be it's going to be just fine for people, and you're going to make more money in NXT than you are, driving to every indie circuit up and down the mid-Atlantic seaboard. So yeah, I think there's part of that too. Like, you may sign 100 people, and 60 of them, sign 100 people over how many years, and 50, 60 of them might make it and make it to the main roster. And people go, well, man, that means 50 didn't. I'm like, yeah, but 50 did. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's
but why did that 50 not? Is
right.
it their work ethic? Is it they
Right.
got hurt? Like, is it things that WWE can control? Like, those are all questions that we're never going to know the answer to. Like,
there's numerous, there's numerous
well,
answers.
That's why I use the baseball reference.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly.
If you go 30 of 100, if 30 guys or gals that are part of your NXT turnover in a calendar year become members of the main roster at some point in their career, you have to think of it as a success.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you've done what you needed to do and turn your roster over and develop the next stars, or the people that you think are going to be your next stars. Now that they're on the main roster, are those people going to put the work in that they put in at NXT to get over even more, to get their new gimmicks over? Those are all things that you'll find out over time, but you have to get them from point A to point B. If you never get them to point B, then the conversation's irrelevant.
Yeah.
Are we good on the NXT third brand?
Yeah, if you guys are.
All right.
My topic.
All right, Ernesto.
All right, my topic is, and I read this about 2 weeks ago, an interview with Bianca Belair.
Yeah, because you weren't on the show last week.
You read?
Right. Yeah, I do. Shut up. And
Rain.
basically say that she's open to becoming a heel at some point. And I think she was I think someone mentioned about an idea of like having her and her husband Montez Ford be a heel faction or whatever, a heel team, whatever. So my topic this week is basically, Bianca's, I think, in my opinion, is probably at her peak, and possibly I don't think people are tired of her yet, though. But I do think at some point there's got to be okay, what's next? And obviously the next step I would say is turning her heel. Now, obviously we know there is a precedent for this for her. She was a heel in NXT, although she was really good as a heel. I guess the main question is this: I think she'll be heel at some point. The question is going to be here: when do you pull a trigger? Based on where she's at now, with storylines and everything else, when is it the right time for her to for WWE, if they do decide to go this route, which I think they will at some point? When should they do it? Should it be before Mania, after Mania, whatever? What do you guys think? Let's track this thing.
I think she's probably going to be Raw Women's Champion through Mania. Be my guess. So you don't turn somebody in the middle of the title reign.
You don't also turn them towards the end of their title reign.
Well, yeah. I mean, during. Well, let's say during their title reign.
No, to be fair, though, most really long title reigns, like Roman Reigns or The Rock, they actually did turn heel during their reign. Not The Rock, CM Punk. That's who I was thinking of. Well, I guess The Rock did too.
You mean during the reign? I know Savage did.
I mean, I would say Reigns was a face when he won the title when he came back.
And Savage is true. Savage was a face at Mania 4, and by the time Mania 5 came around,
I mean, this Roman title reign has been 18 plus months. I mean, it's a longer title
lost
reign
in the weeds.
You know what I mean?
We are it's chocolate lava cake. Okay, we're gonna just put that here so it doesn't spill. Chocolate lava cake, boys.
Nice.
Yummy.
Go try it at your local Bonefish Grill.
So I don't think we're gonna see it during this title reign. I think the time to do it. And here's the thing: like I think Bianca, you can probably have her take a break after this title reign. Like lose that Mania or lose at Raw after Mania, and maybe we don't see her again until Money in the Bank or SummerSlam-ish time. And I think that's when you do it. Like, I think you have her come out and attack the biggest baby face at that point, or one of the big baby faces at the time. And that's she is back to it, to, you know, and not just recycle the EST thing, but like have her be that Bianca Belair and turn it up and make it relevant to how she's developed now, but come back in with a chip on her shoulder.
I mean, to me, I think that the most fun aspect about it is that you at least do it with Montez Ford. Maybe you do it with both the Street Profits. Maybe you make them their own little 3-person stable, which would be different. We've not actually had a stable where it was a woman and 2 men. I mean, I guess the Judgment Day was like that until they adopted Dominic, but
well, when they kicked Edge out, yeah,
right.
Edge.
Good old Edge.
That's it.
Here's what I'm going to say. All right, and this might not be a good answer, and I'm going to apologize in advance. She shouldn't be a face right now.
Huh.
She should have turned heel on Becky Lynch after she won the title from her at SummerSlam. How do you walk around being the baddest, the strongest, the greatest, and get cheered for it? All the things you're saying is you're talking down every other person in your division. You should literally be a heel because you're doing that. She should have been a heel from the jump, in my mind. She's been better as a heel. She's a above average face.
she's plain. She's vanilla.
I was trying to.
I do think plain Bianca pre SummerSlam last year got a little annoying with the over dramatics in the ring and all that. That got annoying pretty quickly for me. And I said as a fan who loves Bianca.
But it hasn't changed since then.
That's really right.
A little bit. I think SummerSlam. I think the Becky thing, a little bit of edge on her, a little bit. But I guess what you're saying there.
But what I'm saying is you had a moment to pull the trigger.
Right.
She gets the win back, and then she tells Becky basically to shove it. Like, I get it. That moment led to Bayley coming back. That moment led to Dakota and Io coming back. So I get the reason why they didn't do that. But that was the moment that you turn her.
I also think they wanted to commit to Becky's heel run, too, because Becky wanted to be a heel.
No. I'm talking about this year's summer.
This year's summer.
I'm talking about this year's, when after the match, Bayley came back and that set up Damage Control versus Bianca, and Becky took time off to heal her arm.
Right.
Because she got hurt during that match. I'm saying that moment would have been better off if Bianca turned then.
Certainly would have shocked folks. No one saw it coming.
Right.
And she's a better fucking heel than she is a face.
Oh, I totally agree with you. The NXT run I saw her was fantastic.
But who would they have had as a face at that point? Would you have brought Bayley back as a face?
No. Well, Becky
Maybe have Bianca be the one in charge of Damage Control instead?
Sure. I'm just saying.
I think Bayley's a better heel, though, too, which is the
problem. I understand that she's a better heel. But the problem is Bayley's walking around telling people how she feels about them and then is getting cheered. Bianca is telling people that she's like the greatest thing since sliced bread, and no one's even batting an eye.
See, because here's one thing. Let us not forget.
Let us pray.
And let us tomato. In at least my 39 years of watching wrestling, I feel like y'all might agree, Mike's 33 years of watching wrestling.
Or
Jim's 37 years of watching wrestling. Ernest's 85 years of watching wrestling.
There you go.
No, it's 12. He took a 60-year sabbatical.
Oh,
so 72 years.
Fair. He was there when Abe Lincoln beat that bear.
He was there. That's Savio Vega.
Most wrestling talents are better as heels.
Agreed.
You can probably count on one hand the number of wrestlers who are genuinely better as faces than they are as heels.
That's a good topic, actually, for
John Cena,
Rey Mysterio,
Sting,
Rey Mysterio, Johnny Gargano.
I like Gargano as a heel,
but I think he's a better face.
He is a better face
because he has the underdog. He is the underdog.
Yeah. The underdog thing.
Okay,
That's debatable, but I'll
Biggest-
give it to you.
biggest
I'll
Johnny
give it to you.
Gargano
Yeah,
fan
no,
in the
no,
world.
no.
You know that.
I'll give it to you, but it's debatable. Like that
Sure,
one is more
sure.
of a debate. Like Rey Mysterio, there's no debate.
It's cooler being a heel way too. It's just cooler being a heel. I'm sure creatively speaking, it's better being a heel.
But the problem is, while it's cool to be a heel, the fact that there are wrestlers that can get over and only be faces means that if they decide to be a heel, could they be a heel? Like, I don't think you could turn Rey Mysterio heel.
Didn't they try in WCW?
I thought they did. Yeah, that's toward the end of the yeah.
They made them the fucking filthy animals. Like,
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
remember him being
Yeah.
really a heel. They just kind of did their own thing.
Fair.
DDP's better face than heel, right? DDP.
Yes, by God, yes. 'cause
Oh,
that-
infinitely.
that heel run that he had is fucking the Undertaker stalker, like
Right.
bleh,
Yeah.
hot garbage.
See, arguably Stone Cold Steve Austin, that specific character, who like acted like a bad guy, was a better face because when they tried to make people actually hate him, he ended up being corny cowboy hat.
Right, but that was a weird point in time because really, like, if you look at Austin, at least at the rise of it, he was
Right.
a
That's
heel
still-
that was being
yeah.
cheered.
It's
Yeah.
an exception to the rule there. I think.
So,
I think
like,
Austin and then The Rock. I think
He was a face because everybody cheered him. He
Right.
wasn't a face by nature.
But that's what's funny is like when they tried to make him a heel, then it had to be a corny heel.
I will say this: the people who will say that The Rock bears a face and heel, I disagree. But
Yeah, those people would be wrong.
right, they're totally wrong. The Rock's the best, one of the greatest heels ever.
Yeah.
I would say that Flair's probably better than him as a heel, but that's me.
Can we all agree
All right.
Bret Hart sucks at both?
Say it again.
Can we all agree Bret Hart sucks at both?
You won't get Jim.
Not agree. We're not going there.
Man.
I mean, but I mean, honestly, another guy that like
Don't
was
be rude.
was a great heel, but probably went better off as a face was Taker.
Yeah.
That one I'm split on because
I don't
shit.
get really evil Undertaker.
I don't know,
though.
man. I think the
Like,
Ministry of
Ministry
Darkness
of Darkness
Light of
Undertaker
Powers.
was a great heel.
Yeah, but literally, like after he turned face, after his initial run,
Mhm.
leading up to Ministry of Darkness, when he was always a face, the Buried Alive matches with Mankind, his feud with Kane, Shawn Michaels, all of
All-
those like
all
memorable
face
matches,
runs. Yep.
all faces, like,
True.
and that's why I'm like the heel face like demeanor, like he's probably not one of the top 5 like blow it away faces like Sting. Like Sting really never had a heel run
Right.
until he went to TNA, which was
I was
god
like, they
awful. By the
tried.
way,
in TNA.
They turned him heel for real in TNA. Really?
they tried. It was awful.
Ugh. I can't even.
There-
imagine
There
that.
also came a point with Taker, and I would argue that it was maybe a little bit before or right at least at the Michaels matches and beyond, that no matter what you did with him, he was going to be cheered because of his legend status.
Yes.
Right.
So
I mean,
like,
you want me to be honest with you? Funny thing here, I would say that Brock Lesnar is a better face than he is a heel.
Ooh, that's
I've had more fun with Cowboy B Brock being a
Yeah.
face than I have
Cowboy
any.
B Brock is the single greatest Brock Lesnar we ever had.
Yeah, this is true.
I mean, face Brock Lesnar is a hell of a lot of fun.
Farmers Only Brock, we look forward to seeing every year.
2021/2022 face Brock,
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
slam dunk.
without question, is the best version of Brock Lesnar to me.
And that includes him being a heel as the next big thing, and being the 1 in 21-1.
Let me ask you this though: if you take away the Cowboy Bebop Rock, let's say we cut off
I
2021.
don't think he ever had a face run aside from that, to be honest with you.
Oh, I guess 03, part of 03, 02, 03.
Sure. Until he left.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Then it's almost heel by default.
Right.
It
Yeah.
is heel by default.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Okay.
I mean, personally, I feel like they've already should have turned her. She hasn't had a heel run on the main roster. I feel like we've aired this out for as long as humanly possible.
Shit, you're right. She hasn't.
She hasn't. That's why I'm
Oh
saying
no.
time. Like
It's gonna
it's
happen.
past time to me because
That's interesting.
she's only been a face since she came up to the main roster.
Which is also true. That's actually true about a lot.
So
of
would you say right now that the two biggest
no.
Heel-
They were kind of a heel with the Kabuki Warriors.
would you say the two biggest heels right now
They tried.
in the women's division is say Rhea Ripley and Bailey right now active?
Ronda
Or the two
Rousey.
biggest- Oh, okay, Ronda. So the reason why I would wait for Bianca to do it is because I don't want her to take any oxygen on the run. I want cause right now Rhea's on a great run. I want Rhea to be able to get a title shot at Mania.
Here's the thing. I don't think that Rhea would have a problem because Rhea would still be involved in all the Judgment Day things.
Right.
I think if she's going to take the air out of anybody, it would be Bayley, unless you move Bayley
That's
to the
true.
SmackDown
Right.
roster.
Right.
Potentially also Alexa, depending on where they're going with this
Fiend-esque thing.
Yeah, which is interesting in a world where Bray Wyatt is in fact on the roster again.
In a world where he hasn't wrestled a match yet, but everybody's like super excited for him to wrestle.
But
he may not wrestle a match until WrestleMania.
Are you guys okay with that?
What?
Are you guys okay with that? Waiting.
I have no problem if he doesn't
waiting
wrestle.
is fine.
I don't have a problem if he doesn't wrestle a match.
I'm the same with you guys.
I mean,
I'm
if you put him in the Royal Rumble, cool. Like, I don't care. But if he doesn't step foot in the ring until fucking WrestleMania, like, I don't care.
But I think it's interesting that I think we all thought they were just going to quietly move on from Alexa and all of that. And obviously the last couple of weeks, they're very much teasing.
Mm-hmm.
There's still something there.
Well, I think too, and this is the one of the challenges that I think is sitting in front of Triple H and company running WWE is there was some of you guys were saying that is very much a Vince McMahon staple, that if Bianca turns heel, then she's going to take the heat from Rhea, or she's going to take the heat from Bayley or whoever.
I don't think she will. I was just answering.
No, hold on. Don't interrupt. But like the under Vince McMahon, there was one women's top heel, there was one women's top face.
To be fair, if lawsuits have proven anything, there's been many more women under Vince McMahon.
Jesus Christ, Joe!
Uh-oh,
horrible human being.
Where's the
So like that really is the challenge now with the new regime is kind of breaking this mindset of there can only be one main women's feud per show. Like we can feature more women. So like if Bianca's a heel, then Bayley can still be a heel as well, or whoever on SmackDown can be a heel as well. Like you don't just need to have one top baby face, one top, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there could be more substance to the women's division.
And I do think that we're moving in that direction because I truly believe that I don't know if it's going to be all the way till WrestleMania. I'm hoping so, especially when you've got 2 nights to fill.
Yeah.
But Bayley versus Becky with no title anywhere needed or on the line or anything, that needs to be a singles match on a major premium live event at some point in the next few months. I don't think you do it at the Royal Rumble. I think they should both be in the Royal Rumble.
Agreed.
I
Agree
don't
with you on that
think
one.
you do it at Elimination Chamber. I think that it's a prime match with 2 upper mid-card women.
You love it.
That could very easily be a marquee match on either night of WrestleMania.
And that's why I was saying Ernest's comment about taking away from them. The only person that they could take away from would be Bayley. If it was to happen, like Ronda Rousey is not having any of her energy taken away because Bianca Belair turned heel. Like
for the record, Joe, what you're saying, I want that to happen. You know why? Long-term storytelling. 6, 7, 8 months.
And that's where
I'm okay with that. That's all I want.
Like,
tell me a story.
That's why too. Like, I think if you have Bianca lose, take a break, a much deserved break. You can have her return on SmackDown as a heel, so you don't run the risk of taking away Bayley's heat because you're not on the same show.
So you all agree after Mania?
But the truth is, though, at some point, I think the point that you were trying to just make, or one of you guys was trying to just make, you have to have more than one major
right.
heel.
But if Mike's point, I'm countering Mike's point. If Mike's point was that the person that's going to potentially lose heat would be Bayley.
That wasn't my point. I was stifling off Ernest's
point. My point about like
somebody losing because all I was saying was because of what he said. I said the only person that could lose heat off of it would be Bayley.
Right. Because I was saying right. Because I was
at some
that's
point,
all I was saying. I personally don't think that Bianca turning heel would make Bayley lose anything because Bayley's in a separate entity with the Becky feud.
Okay. Right, because I was concerned about Rhea. I was concerned about Rhea.
But here's the thing. To me, like, we wouldn't be sitting here having a conversation being like, oh my God, they can't possibly turn Seth Rollins heel because it's going to take away from Sami Zayn.
Or Bobby Lashley.
Right. We're not having that conversation because we're all used to a world where you have multiple top heels and multiple top faces of the male variety. Well, if
right, and that's why I said that's my challenge to the new regime.
Right, if you want to get the women's division to be on par with the men's division, at some point you're gonna need to have multiple top heels and multiple top faces where only one of them can be the champion.
But you can still have matches involving them, not involving the title.
Right.
Which one you got? Right.
Most of Seth Rollins' 2022 run has nothing to do with a championship, but you can't tell me that he hasn't been one of the top heels and now faces or tweeners, right, in the company in wrestling all year long. You can't tell me he hasn't been.
Who said this week in the text that Asuka is next go heel?
She's apparently up for like a character change, whether or not she's going to be a heel.
Yeah, I think the rumor floating around is that she's going to pull her Japan gimmick back.
Yeah.
Good.
Which was Kana, which was...
I think I saw her at a Chikara show once.
Yeah, you did. You 100% did.
You've heard her as a heel or face? Because I'm a little complicated on that one. I love her as a heel, definitely. But
so the only thing that I've really seen her do is a face because her NXT run and her WWE run has all, in my opinion, been face. Mm-hmm. So, like I said, I think I saw her wrestle once. Mike confirms I saw her wrestle once in Chikara, but I saw her wrestle once in Chikara. So I can't sit here and be like, oh my God, she was this incredible heel. Like
her stuff with Kairi when they were the Kabuki Warriors at the end of like 2017, 2018, when they main evented that TLC pay-per-view with Charlotte and Becky, like when they were heels, when they were the tag champs, like that was heel stuff.
That's 2019, actually, yeah.
Asuka, like the beginning of her call up when nobody was ready for Asuka, like she felt like a badass, not really like a heel. You know, I'd have to go back and really like inspect a lot of her main roster stuff, but her NXT run was more just her blitzkrieging people. It wasn't really face or heel because no one knew what she was saying half the time anyways, because, you know, we don't speak Japanese. So literally it's just one of those things where, you know, I saw that. Look, Jim, I'm not going to say what I said on the Tuesday show. Yeah, exactly. We're not editing this one.
That's on you fuckers. I only produce this shit. I don't edit anything.
So it's on Vincent up there to do the editing then.
Yeah. We good.
So it's just one of those things where I don't feel like she's had a major heel run. I feel like she's probably had heel moments and moments when she was portraying a heel. Like the match at WrestleMania that she had.
Which one?
Like with Rhea?
No.
Which one?
Yes.
Right.
Where Charlotte kind of
beat her, she broke her undefeated streak.
Yeah, it just kind of seemed like Charlotte was getting cheered a lot in that match to me.
I don't remember well enough.
There are moments where I felt like she was the heel.
Okay.
But she doesn't portray the heel because at the end of the day, and I love Asuka to death. Let me preface this with all of it. It's hard to be a heel whenever no one knows what you're like saying. Like no one can buy into your heel promos because nobody knows the translation of what you're saying. You know, it's a major disconnect at points.
In the 1980s, that was almost all it took for you to be a heel. Just don't speak English, and we'll give you a manual.
You're Russian, you're Japanese. Yep, you're a heel.
Right, exactly.
Boom.
So, like,
Soviet.
In a funny way, it's almost like she should be more of a heel because of the language barrier.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where some of her promos just kind of just fall flat. Don't like. When she got the title because Becky was going out pregnant. Like at one point she started saying stuff and I was just like, yeah. Is she asking Becky if she's having a baby or is she saying like laughing at something? Like, I don't know what's going on here. Like, right. I'm not trying to be insensitive, but like, can somebody tell me what's going on?
She's more adorable. She's more adorable as a face anyway.
So. I mean, I think that she's one of those where
Is Nakamura the same situation?
no, because Shinsuke actually says things in English. His English has grown since he came over to the main roster.
But in his WWE run, he's been way better as a face than as a heel.
Honestly, I don't think they gave him a good enough heel run whenever he turned at WrestleMania.
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree with that.
When he lost, when
When he was
he
just hitting
lost,
people in the balls
Yeah,
for like 6 months.
exactly. Rather than just kicking guys in the dick, you should have done something with that heel run.
Yeah, when I started watching 2019, he was a
Like,
heel, and then
Him
they turned him
and
quickly.
Rusev, when they were like a tag team together, like
I don't even remember.
I'm pretty sure they were a tag team. Pretty sure him and Rusev.
Were they? Really? Oh.
Yeah, hit before Rusev Day. I'm
It
pretty
sounds
sure.
dumb enough to
Okay.
have existed. I just don't remember it.
I barely remember Nakamura as a heel. He started off as a heel when I started watching, and he was turned to a face within like 3-4 months.
It's okay because here's the thing, and this is where I'm gonna stick my claw in here. Okay,
The claw.
the internet wrestling community has made some people not able to be heels because it doesn't matter what their character is, they're always going to cheer for him. Asuka, Shinsuke,
Bryan
Danielson, the Bucks, Omega. Like, it doesn't matter what those guys do. Like,
most of the AEW roster.
but here's the thing. It took a god-awful Kenny Omega title run that lasted 5 months too long for the fans to finally turn on him.
Yeah.
We sat here and watched him lose and lose and lose and lose to Kazuchika Okada. And every time he wrestled him, we were all like, he's going to do it this time. It didn't matter that it almost never happened. Like, eventually it happened, thankfully. 12 months too late, but I digress.
Yeah.
There are guys that it doesn't matter what you do with their character, they're going to get cheered. Like, here, perfect example, Phil from Chicago. Comes back. I'm back. I'm back for you. I'm back for me. Everybody's cheering. It took him kicking the door into the Young Bucks fucking dressing room to finally have fans go, all right, we've had enough, dude.
Fuck that guy.
All right, but okay, by that thinking, isn't it almost impossible in the year 2022 to actually make anybody just a full-on blown heel?
Aside Ronda Rousey, probably.
Right, but the reason why Ronda Rousey isn't really liked is because everyone with
she's a
eyes
dick.
can tell that she doesn't know how to wrestle, and she's also kind of a bitch, and like you're not convinced that she's playing a character because she's not a good actress, so you're just kind of convinced that she is the awful person that she's portraying on TV.
What about Ryan's favorite, Lacey Evans?
Oh boy.
Hit the button.
No, but you know what I'm saying? Where it's like
Horrible
even like look at the Bloodline. The Bloodline are the biggest heels and the biggest heel faction in all of pro wrestling. They sell more t-shirts than probably almost anybody else in the entire WWE right now. There was a time 20 years ago, 30 years ago, I guess, if depending on what era you're looking at, where if you were a bad guy, you didn't even get a t-shirt. You didn't get to sell merchandise. You were the villain. They did not want people
the Attitude Era forever changed that.
Yeah, that era was just like an anomaly.
Right. But that's what I'm saying, though. Is like, it's interesting because in that case, like, how many heels out there are actually genuinely not getting a single cheer? Like, if you turn Bianca heel, she'd probably end up being more popular than she is now. Because half the time, that's what happened since the year 1998 and forward when you turn someone heel. Roman Reigns, everybody hated that man when he was a good guy. Now, all of a sudden, all he's got to do is come out, do that, like, snarl, Scar from the Lion King, like, intense look around, tell people this is his rock now, and all of a sudden, like, everybody cheers. That man says, acknowledge me. The audience cheers.
Yep.
He says, acknowledge me. 4 ladies are pregnant.
Yes.
3 men have had a heart attack, and
Yes.
the entire fucking collector cup at the Insane is completely gone.
Yeah. Like, he's not getting booed. He's not. MJF might be the only guy out there who really genuinely can still get booed for what he does in the ring.
Kicking people in the dick.
Yeah, they'll do that.
Goddamn Ricky Starks.
All right. Let's get to the big board.
Ooh, big board. Let me bring that up real quick. All right, so for those of you at home, this is my topic. It is the Wrestlemania big board. 18 matches currently sit on the big board. So what's going to happen here is we're going to spin the wheel. The person whose name it lands on is going to pick the draft order. We're all going to draft. Once a match is off the board, nobody can pick it anymore. When you pick your match, you will also pick what night you want that match on. Then when the big board is filled with all 9 matches on each night, it'll be determined which 2 people will pick the order of their matches. So in this example, Jim, when you spin the wheel, whomever gets the first pick gets to pick their teammate also and the night that they want. So when we spin the wheel, if it lands on Ernest, Ernest picks Jim as his partner and they want night number 2. Or we randomize the nights so that we can't load up our nights with certain matches. I personally want to randomize nights so that we have to, I think that would be more fun. So maybe we'll go that route. We'll randomize the nights at the end, and whomever it lands on gets that night.
Okay.
So, Jim, do you have the wheel available?
I do.
Not, all right. So so once you spin it,
it is spinning, and it is Joe.
All right, Joe, you get to pick the draft order.
Okay. I'll go first.
Okay.
You can go second.
Okay.
Jim can go third.
And Ernest gets to go last. That a boy.
Oh, we're gonna give Ernest a turn?
Yeah.
All right, I guess.
All right. So like I said, I have 18 matches on the big board. Okay. There is a double Roman Reigns on this big board.
That's okay.
Once a Roman Reigns match is selected for a night, the other match automatically goes on to the other night. We're not going to have Roman pull double duty on one night.
Fair. Fair.
That's the only thing that is 100% set in stone. So I'm going to go over the matches. Joe gets the first pick. Joe will have to pick match that he wants and what night he wants that match on.
Okay.
So for the Universal Championship, it is Roman Reigns versus The Rock. The WWE Championship is Cody versus Roman Reigns. A non-title heavyweight bout.
Hold on.
Wait, so you said Rock and Roman first one, right?
Yes, for the Universal title.
Right.
Can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
For the game?
Sure.
Just so you don't have to list all of them right now. For
I have to list it for the people at home. I have to list it for them because they don't know the matches.
Follow me.
Because
this will make it easier so you don't have to do that. Okay?
This is scary.
I go, then you go, then Jim goes, Useless goes then. Right? Why don't we take it in the order that you already have the matches and we just put it on like match number 1, I'll take it and I'll tell you which night to put it on.
I like the draft style better. I like the draft better.
Okay. I mean, I just figured because then that way it's just like you can be like, hey, Jim, okay, next match, this one, you putting on night 1 or night 2. You know what I mean? That way we don't have to run down the whole thing.
I mean, it's up to you guys. I personally I like the draft style.
I like the draft style too, to be honest with you.
Right. And the I think the only flaw with your idea, Joe, is like I have a hard time once we get past the 2 Roman matches. I don't know what's next.
True.
At all.
True, because
Mike didn't share the matches.
I also didn't put them in any specific order. I just wrote the matches down.
Okay.
Right. So I have no clue. I have no clue. Like if the third match is Bianca versus
Bailey.
The third match is the doozy.
Ronda Rousey.
Yep.
Like I don't know if I want to put that on night 1 or night 2 because I don't know what other women's matches are coming.
I agree.
So we got to see what's going on.
Right.
Yeah.
So you guys have the 2 Roman matches written down?
You said Cody and Roman, right? Second one?
Correct, for the WWE Championship. So I'm splitting the titles up, just so you all know.
Okay.
Okay. Third match, Battle of the Heavyweights. Give me Brock Lesnar versus Gunther.
That's the rumor, too, by the way.
Okay.
Match number 4.
That's not a title match.
That is not a title match. Match number 4 is a 2 falls match first fall for one title, second fall for the other set of tag titles. It is the Usos, Alpha Academy, the Street Profits, the Brawling Brutes, and Imperium.
Fuck. Brutes
So
and
Usos,
Imperium.
Alpha Academy. What are the other ones? Brawling Brutes.
Profits.
Imperium, Street Profits. 5 teams.
And is it 2 falls? Was that?
Yes. One fall is for the Raw title. One fall is for the SmackDown title. I'm splitting up all the fucking titles. I'm over this hierarchy.
Hey, you go right
I'm
ahead.
just telling you what I'm doing, just so you guys.
Oh,
know.
which fall? I guess doesn't matter.
It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. It doesn't
Pick
matter.
matches.
Correct. The 5th match is a fatal 4-way for the U.S. title. It is Kevin Owens versus Solo Sikoa
Ooh.
versus the honorary Uce, Sami Zayn, versus, because I just threw him in here just for shits and giggles, Baron Corbin.
Okay.
I don't hate it though. Okay.
Next up, the Raw Women's title match. It is the EST Bianca Belair taking on the man Becky Lynch. Yeah, I did it again. Because I wanted to turn this time.
Be like
SmackDown
Rock
Women's
and Austin.
Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte Flair.
Why?
Because I think that that's the logical
I know.
process here.
Give it a dark match.
Sure, dark elevation, dark. Next up, father versus son, Rey Mysterio.
Oh,
Mysterio. I thought you'd like that one.
That's definitely happening. So
yeah.
I'll tell you.
match.
I'll tell you this much. The next match is probably my favorite of my 18 matches. It is a mixed tag team match between Edge and Beth Phoenix taking on Finn Balor and Rhea Ripley.
There's Rhea and Finn, right?
Yep, Rhea and Finn.
All right.
I have another mixed tag match.
Ooh.
Karrion Kross and Scarlett
Ooh.
taking on the team of Bray Wyatt and Alexa Bliss.
interesting.
All right.
Next up is a fatal 4-way for the Women's Tag Team Championship. It is Shayna and Natty versus Liv Morgan and Tegan Nox versus Raquel and Shotzi versus the Bloodlines, Naomi and Tamina.
All right.
In our celebrity wing, Bad Bunny makes his WrestleMania return,
Okay,
taking
back.
on Joe Lopez's man crush, Austin Theory. Thought you'd like that one. As he's dying with his inhaler. I fucked him up so bad he's got to hit his inhaler.
Jesus.
Also in the celebrity wing, Logan Paul versus Seth Franklin Rollins.
Sign me up for that.
See, some of these are actually not that bad. This Joe's dying. Next up, a triple threat match for the Intercontinental Championship. It is Sheamus versus Bobby versus Drew McIntyre.
Big meaty man slapping meat. Oh shit.
I figured we had to have one. We had to have one just fucking
Yeah.
brawl. Next up is a 6-woman tag match. Damage Control Alt Delete. Bailey, Io, Dakota.
Mm-hmm.
Taking on Toxic Attraction.
Oh,
Gigi,
nice.
JC, and Mandy.
Um,
You say we have 5 months before we're there. Chill out. Anything can happen in the world of wrestling and entertainment. We also have this match from the entertainment capital of the world. it is going to be L.A. Knight taking on Pat McAfee.
All right.
Johnny Wrestling
Hell yeah.
versus The Miz.
Oh, hell yeah.
And the last match that I have to pick from, it'll be a 8-person tag match.
Jesus.
It is AJ Styles and the OC with their tag team partner, give me a hell yeah, give me old Stone Cold Steve Austin coming in here hitting some Steve Weisers.
Mm-hmm.
Their opponents, oh, fuck, I forgot to delete that. Son of a bitch. Take Alpha Academy out of the tag title match.
Alpha. What else? Okay.
Sorry, I
Replace who?
forgot to delete them. No, they're not.
Okay.
It's 4. Because the Alpha Academy is in this match against the OC and Stone Cold. It's Gable Steveson, American Alpha, and their veteran in his retirement match from WWE, the Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle.
You sure his deck be okay?
Buddy, are you sure that Stone Cold's going to be healthy enough for this match?
I haven't saying.
Because I think Kurt Angle being the coach of American Alpha, Gable Steveson,
I mean,
brothers.
this is book of the year here. Shit here going on here, buddy.
Chad Gable, Otis.
Gable, Otis,
Gable
Steveson, and Kurt Angle.
Yeah, versus the OC and Steve.
Between Austin and Angle, they have one good knee.
Jesus.
And 0 good necks.
Yep.
Oh my God. Someone was gonna die.
That's just.
He's not lying. He's not lying.
He ain't lying.
All right.
Facts over feelings, Ernest.
No.
Joe gets
Oh, Jesus Christ.
You get to pick the match that you want and what night you want it on. So the board is yours.
Let's put Sheamus, Lashley, and Drew on night 1.
All right. So match number 14. For my own health, I'm going to do it that way.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I get the second pick. I'm going to go right for it. Give me Ray versus Dominic Mysterio on night number 2.
I like it.
Jim, your board.
Real quick.
Yep.
So
it's already not real quick.
I know. I'm trying to get this right. So once you pick those matches, they're off the board. That's it, right?
Correct.
So just want to make sure. Okay. So to make sure.
There will be 9 matches on night 1. There will be 9 matches on night number 2.
Okay.
How would that have not made sense?
This is clarifying. Give me Reigns Cody night 2.
All right. So that means that by default, Roman and The Rock goes on night number 1.
Ooh, that's confusing. No, because I would have definitely figured you want Reigns.
Roman pull double duty.
No. But what I'm saying is, I feel like Cody and Roman is more of a night 1 match.
I feel like Roman beating
Cody winning the WWE title to close night 2, and then your tagline is tune in tomorrow night, 8:00 on USA. Cody Rhodes is your new WWE champion. I guess the perfect way to leave.
And I think Roman beating The Rock and having a war with him, softening him up the next week for Cody. Just it protects.
It also
Roman.
helps protect Roman, and because Rock's not beating Roman,
no.
So you don't need Roman as the closing shot of Mania again
for like the 97th year in a row. I agree.
Okay,
Ernest, the board is yours.
All right. And I picked the night 1, right? The night.
You picked the match and the night.
Okay, night 1 can be Brock and Gunther.
Ooh. Dun, dun, dun,
all the hoss fights on
dun,
night
dun.
1.
I know it's like a fucking hoss war over here.
So far, night 1 is like
big meaty men slapping meat.
It's like WrestleMania 5 right now.
Big meaty men slapping meat.
There it is. Joseph, the board is yours.
Let me take a look. All right, let's break the mold of night 1 so far. Let's do Edge and Beth against Finn and Rhea on night 1. Because you've already got Ray and Dominic on night 2. So I feel like you've already got the Judgment Day on night 2. So let's make sure they're also on night 1.
I I like it. I'm going to take the first celebrity match here to night number 2. Give me Austin Theory versus Bad Bunny.
Ooh,
On night 2?
On night number 2.
I figured that was going to sit there until I took it. Nice.
No, I actually think that's actually a very entertaining match.
It could be.
I think the way that Theory worked with McAfee last year, I get it. It was kind of like weird because the whole Vince McMahon stuff the next night. But that match was actually fairly entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he could have a good match with Bad Bunny because I think Bad Bunny is pretty good in ring. Jim, the board is yours, my friend.
Give me. Well, I think if you have one mixed tag on night 1, I think you need to do the other one on night 2. So give me Cross Scarlet versus Bray and Alexa.
All right, so that goes to night number 2.
Yeah.
All right. Ernest, the board is yours.
All right. So give me the other celebrity match for night 2.
There's-
was one.
There's 2 more. There's LA Knight versus Pat McAfee, and there's Seth Rollins versus Logan Paul.
Well, I want a McAfee match.
Okay.
Do night 2. Fuck it, night 2.
All right, so McAfee versus LA Knight on night number 2. All right, Joseph, the board is yours.
In the interest of not having both women's matches on the same night, at least attempting not to, and y'all control the rest. But let's put. I feel like.
Are you Peter Griffin to me right now?
No, I'm just thinking about it because I feel like if you've got The Rock on night 1, then you're probably not putting Ronda on night 1. So give me Becky versus Bianca on night
1. All right, I'm going to take the Fatal 4-Way 2-Fall tag title match, and I'm going to put that on night 1.
That's Usos, Profits, and
Usos, Profits, Imperium, and the Brawling Brutes. Okay. Jim?
I'll fall on the sword. Rousey, Charlotte, night 2.
I was going to take that for night 1, actually.
I'm going to take one for the team there, bud. We know Ernest would have fucked that up.
Yep.
Speaking of Ernest, it's on you.
Hey. Give me night 2 of the Shayna Natty versus Liv and Tegan versus Raquel and Shotzi versus Naomi. Yeah.
So we put the women's tag match on night number 2.
Yes.
Joseph.
Let's do Seth and Logan Paul on night 1.
I was going to say, I'm not trying to pick where you put it, but I think that was the right pick there.
Yeah.
So I'm going to fall on the sword here. Ernest put the other women's match on night 2. I'll put the other non-women's title match of Damage Control versus Toxic Attraction on night number 1.
Yeah, fair.
There are 3 matches left, so it'll go Jim, Ernest, and then Joe will have Joe really won't get a pick, so it'll be Ernest, Jim, and then whichever match falls where it lies.
Real quick.
Say that we're at 8 matches on night number 1. So Jim, if you put a match on night number 1, the remaining matches will automatically go on to night number 2.
Oh, you could say fuck Ernest.
Yeah, it's fine.
No, I'm gonna put the US title 4-way on night 2.
I was hoping that someone would do that since I put the other Bloodline match on night 1.
Well, not only that, but you have the IC title 3-way or
that's KO solo. Is that no?
KO solo.
Corbin.
That's night 1.
Yeah, because you also have the triple threat for the IC on night 1. So
Correct.
This splits your secondary men's title.
Correct. Ernest, you get to pick between the Miz and Johnny Gargano, and then the Old Folk Retirement Home Invitation.
No, I'm taking Gargano Miz for night 2.
All right, so.
Oh no, that's wrong.
Why's it wrong? Joe, why's it wrong?
Because if you're having Rock lose on night 1, you can have him come out on night 2 during the Steve Austin match and like have a moment with Steve Austin in the ring, and then like
Austin was on Mania last year, both nights.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying is like
but you won't have Rock come out during the middle of the show
No,
to have
you're
that
right.
moment with Steve to then come back and wrestle in the main event.
Right.
All right, so Austin and The Rock host night 2.
I'm okay with that.
I mean, if they're there, they're going to appear both nights.
Correct, and I think you
regardless.
you might have the run-in moment with them then.
Yeah.
Jim, do you still have the wheel open by chance?
I can get it back open right away.
All right, so spin the wheel again.
Hold on.
The person that picks it lands on gets to pick who they want to be their partner.
All right. Wheel spinning. We got me.
Okay, so Jim gets to pick who he wants to be his partner as we set up our cards.
I'm going to pick Mike because Joe and Ernest are a cute couple.
Yes. Now spin it one more time, and whoever it lands on gets to pick what night they want.
And it is also me.
Okay, so you get to pick. Do you want me and you to set the card for night 1 or night 2? And then Joe and Ernest will get the other one. We're going to put these cards up on Twitter. We're going to pick who has the best WrestleMania card. You missed that part because you were still at work.
Can you send it to us in the I guess in text just to lay out after?
Yes.
Thank you.
Give. Yeah, once we get the layout. Actually, well, I'm keeping track of it here. I can make a graphic over the weekend too of the 2 nights.
Okay.
Do you have? Do you care, Mike? Since we're partners, I mean, do you have a preference? I mean, I think both cards are pretty good.
I do too.
I'm kind of leaning night 2 because I love
I was going to say, me and you have been talking about Cody. We're
going to do night 2.
All right, so Jim and myself will set the 9-match card for night number 2. Ernest and Joe will set the 9-match card for night number 1. If we can get that done by the end of tomorrow so that Jim can put a graphic together so we can put it up on the Twitter on Saturday and let it run through voting through Wednesday so that we can determine who has the better WrestleMania card. That means that, the 2 lovebirds have to sit here and hammer this thing out, because if not,
him doing a list. Good luck with that.
You texting anybody back? Good luck with that.
So basically, there's going to be no night 1 of WrestleMania.
That one's canceled. I've been canceled.
COVID. Been canceled.
There's going to be 9 matches on night.
Jesus.
So quick rundown for those of you following along at home. Night number 1 has Sheamus, Bobby Lashley, Drew McIntyre for the IC title. Rock versus Roman, Gunther versus Brock Lesnar, Edge and Beth Phoenix versus Finn and Rhea Ripley. It has Bianca Belair, Becky Lynch, the Usos, the Street Profits, the Brawling Brutes, and Imperium for the 2-fall tag title match. It also has Seth Rollins, Logan Paul, Toxic Attraction versus Damage Control, and Stone Cold, AJ Styles, and the OC versus Kurt Angle, Gable Steveson, and the Alpha Academy. While night number 2 has Rey Mysterio versus Dominic Mysterio, Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns, Austin Theory, Bad Bunny, Karrion Kross and Scarlett versus Bray Wyatt and Alexa Bliss, LA Knight versus Pat McAfee, Ronda Rousey, Charlotte Flair, the 4-way women's tag title match, Kevin Owens, Solo Sikoa, Sami Zayn, Baron Corbin for the U.S. title, and The Miz versus Johnny Wrestling. Those are the 2 full cards. We'll get that up for you by Saturday. Check out the Twitter page at Take3 Wrestling, and you can vote for who you think booked the best WrestleMania card.
Who booked this shit?
I think I you know what, I love this thing. Like, I want
Kind of cool, actually.
I want to do this more, like, as we get closer to SummerSlam, because I think booking the SummerSlam card where it's like, okay, you take the first 5 matches and we take the last 5 matches and we fucking do something like that. Obviously, it's not gonna be 2 nights, so it's gonna be hard to do for SummerSlam, but I think it'd be fun. So yeah,
all right.
Wrestlers
of the week. Can I go first? I haven't gone like 3 months.
Buddy, you haven't been here in like 7 months, so I mean,
That's what I'm saying.
Hashtag you problem, EJ.
Yeah,
you know what? You begging for the first pick is like you begging for a Washington Commanders song on fucking.
Hold up.
He ain't lying.
All right.
Sure. Go ahead, Ernest. Go ahead. Take the first pick.
All right. First pick, the new ROH champion. Give me Claudio Castagnoli.
Are you serious?
That's what it says.
What's wrong?
Shit.
Breaking news?
I mean,
I don't know for sure. No,
and I don't know if it's really breaking news. Oh, hold on. I don't know if it's breaking news to some. I'm trying to spell Claudio Castagnoli. It's what I'm putting because I can't spell right now. It was basically put on Facebook that Minoru Suzuki is officially disbanding Suzuki Goon. They've been together for like 12 years, but he's officially disbanding the stable and letting them all go about their own ways and no hard feelings shit.
Serious?
Yes, Jim.
Give me the new RO. Nope. I
Nope.
lied. Nope. I didn't finish it. Give me the new. Give me the new NXT Women's Champion, Roxanne Perez.
I knew that was coming. I'll do it for you. Give me the new Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions. Give me the Briscoe brothers.
I have no idea what happened in wrestling this week. Who won on NXT?
Roxanne.
Who else
She's
won on
gone, though.
NXT?
Send him the link. www.google.com. Send it to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't have time to Google right now.
The fact that Ernest got one right is the bigger.
I could have gotten that one.
I mean, there was also like 14 new champions on.
Joe, you commented on.
When does the 333 then? 333 all day.
You commented on a Facebook photo of mine. You could have easily looked up ROH Final Battle 2022 in that time.
But nothing else important happened on that show other than the tag titles and the world title.
New women's champion, new pure champion, new 6-man tag champs. I mean,
yeah, but like that and the 10 people who subscribe to Honor Club are going to actually be able to watch it.
I'm gonna
for real
Honor Club because they have everything back to 2004.
As of right now, they don't.
Tim looked earlier, did he not?
I looked last night and they only had up to 2012.
Tim looked earlier on 3CT.
That I'll look at. I'm actually very curious.
See, bi-curious over here.
Hold on.
When does it go 333? If Joe's any,
all right, he's gonna do that. He's gonna sit out because
this seems more important.
Okay, I'll go next then.
On with Honor Club.
Give me Seth Rollins. Big win against Bobby this week on Raw.
In the who gives a shit fucking pick of the week.
Oh man, you could, in the time that Joe was talking about not knowing anything, you could have Googled Ring of Honor Final Battle 2022.
We talked about it. He was on the show.
My good God. Wheeler Huter.
I was gonna say if you didn't do it,
I'll let you guys handle the Ring of Honor NXT shit.
Christ.
Though I did have NXT on my list, though. We'll say.
So what you're telling me is your next nominee and Seth Rollins are going to be like 30th and 31st on my rankings this month.
I don't
gives
know.
a shit.
Fucking.
Where did we find anything prior to 2013?
I don't know. I'd have to go back and listen to the show. Give me the winner of the Men's Iron Survivor Challenge. Give me Grayson Wahlhair.
All right, my turn finally.
Finally,
give me
you're gone for 8 months.
Give me the guy that beat Jericho last night, Action Andrade.
Action Andrade?
What was Andretti? What his fucking
Charlotte's
name is?
husband get a new gimmick?
It's Andretti. What his fucking name is?
There you go.
Andrade.
Oh my god! When is the Action Andrade shirt coming onto our TeePublic store?
It's coming,
dude. That's so good.
It's coming, Jim. It's coming.
That and the Toyota Sequoia T-shirt.
Toyota Sequoia.
No, but that has both. Like, there's all I see is up to 2013.
I don't know. He found something.
An article that said it was going to be.
I'll take Tim's word on this one.
I don't know.
Tim's pretty thorough.
I don't know. He has it up right now. I don't know. It's weird.
Okay.
I'll have to go back. I'll have to go back and look at it because
I don't.
during that portion of.
I don't know what Tim was looking at, but
I'll ask him too. I'll send him a message and see.
Oh wait, no, I found it.
Oh hey, he found it. You said to press a button.
Perfect. Nobody took the New Day, right?
Nope, not yet.
New Day.
New Day.
All right, the New Day.
How the fuck did you get?
Everything.
How did you do Seth Rollins before you did the New Day winning the tag belt?
I forget that you guys take.
You know what? I don't care. You watched Deadline, didn't you?
No.
No chance.
Come on, dude. You know this already, man.
Chance.
Like
You watched Deadline.
2003 literally has one match.
One match or one show.
One match.
The fact that I have one NXT person on my list is actually a shock. So
The fact that you have more than one fucking name on a list is fucking actually.
I got 9 actually.
I'm
On
not
this
gonna
list.
lie to you.
2004.
I got
also
9.
One match.
What NXT name do you even have on your list?
Roxanne.
Oh,
And it's Jimmy Jacobs versus Chris Sabin.
Hell yeah, let's go. ROH TV. Let's go.
Yeah.
All right, my last pick. You know what?
You gotta
She's the new Ring of Honor Women's Champion. Give me Athena. No, see, Ernest, when you pick somebody stupid like Seth Rollins, it makes me having to make the last pick hard because there's like a bunch of
there's
different
too many
names.
good answers left.
You know, I could have went with MJF.
Do you want me to undo my second pick?
No, you
No,
already did
you
the pick.
can't. You can't undo it.
But I could have
Okay.
went with MJF. I could have went with Braun Breaker. I could
I
have went.
haven't
with,
on my list. MJF list still also. MJF.
yeah, but here's the thing.
Probably would have been a better answer than Seth.
Hold on. You know what? I'm gonna backtrack this for a minute. You remember the one episode you've been on for the last like 9 weeks when you were like, "Hey, is there any person outside of the top 2 that could win Wrestler of the Year?" And I was like, "Yo, Braun Breaker still has an outside chance." He doesn't anymore because you picked Seth Rollins as one of your fucking Wrestlers of the Week, you moron.
Like Breaker literally retained his title.
Oh well.
Seth Rollins had a
Fuck
good
that up.
match with Bobby
Hey,
Lashley.
guess what? You know what? Fuck that up.
Fired.
Oh well. Fuck that up.
This is why we can't have nice things.
And this is
No.
why whenever you're gone for 19 weeks, James J. Dillon doesn't have to send me faxes because he knows you're nowhere to fucking be found.
Chicken
By the
scratch.
way, I haven't read that fax yet on this week's show.
Oh,
so, let me get that fax real quick.
You know what year is actually full on missing? It's weird.
2007.
Are we done now? Are we done with the rest of the week? Or we still have one more to pick?
No, we're done. We picked
Okay.
our 3.
Okay.
From the desk of James J. Dillon, the commissioner of WCW, in regards to the WCW Podcasting Host Championship of the World. Because Ernest went AWOL for more than 30 days without defending his title, he's stripped of the title according to the James J. Dillon Executive Office. The title will be held up until we have a to-be-determined contest involving the Royal Rumble. It'll be announced leading up to the Royal Rumble. It may be something where we take the 30 numbers from both Royal Rumbles and you get a randomized list of numbers. And if your numbers win, you are then entered into a random wheel spin to determine unless you win both Rumbles. Also, I don't know if Joe will be in that because he doesn't get here till 11 o'clock. So it might be where we each get 10 numbers from each Rumble. And we'll figure out who the new host of this show is because it can't be someone that's not here for 9 fucking weeks. We've determined that. James J. Dillon also said that if Ernest would like to protest this, he could send a $50 bill and a fax to his office effective immediately, and he'll take it under review.
$50? That's it?
Buddy, it was, dude. I got a fax from him from like 1997. $50 is a lot
Inflation.
of money.
I get inflation.
Fuck,
Inflation.
dude.
All right, I'll close. You close the show here, Mike. Earthly Podcast, all podcast catchers. EG Christian 7 on Twitter. I'm done. I'm tired. Go ahead, Jim.
You're tired. I've been podcasting for almost 5 hours.
I've been podcasting. Oh, so have I. I did 2 shows.
I had 183 stops today at fucking Amazon. Fuck you, Ernest.
I had 4 podcasts today. I should technically 4 podcasts today, including this one.
Great.
There you go.
At Big Jim Sports on Twitter. 3 Count Thursday. We had our live show. That podcast is up. Tuesday show drops. We have some Christmas stuff. We have our Christmas special next week. Next Thursday night live. And then we wrap up the year 2022 on the Tuesday podcast to close out the month. Because I am taking a motherfucking vacation the last Thursday of this goddamn month. That's right. That's a thing that's happening.
Should we all do that?
What?
Should we all just do that?
You just had one. Shut up.
I need another one.
I hate you.
No, you do not. Shut up.
At Hello Podcast on Twitter, Facebook. It is the Tuesday Sports Show. Make sure you are subscribed to the Huddle Up podcast feed because we have my 5 observations, we have Mike's 5 for fighting, we have N1 with EJ over here.
Hey, fuck you! I did it. Right? Did I do the show for you?
You did do it.
Okay,
and
there
now
you go.
2 becomes a streak.
3 becomes a streak.
3 becomes a streak. 2 is back to back. And of course our weekly live show. So you have to subscribe to the feed to make sure you do not miss all of the content that comes your way there. And Discussions with a Nobody dropped a new discussion over the weekend. Probably will be the last one of 2022, but we'll kick off a new one there in early January at DWAN Pod on Twitter. Discussions with the Nobody on Facebook.
All right, Joe, go ahead. What porn site doing this week?
I can't plug my Just for Fans. I might get fired.
Yeah, come on. Have you learned nothing from the week that was?
Don't worry, you're not an independent contractor. We'll allow you to gain monetary success from other fucking industries.
Okay.
All right,
We're not assholes.
Yeah, close it up, Mike.
All right, you can follow the show at Take3 Wrestling. Look out for the tweet about the WrestleMania cards. Also, as Jim mentioned, as I'm pointing to him, Huddle Up Podcast, the 5 for Fighting. That. We had a rapid reaction to Alexander Ovechkin hitting career goal number 800. I can't wait for the Huddle Up Incorporated shirt. Reminds me of Money Inc. That shirt coming out hopefully in the near future. If you are interested in any of the Take3 Wrestling stuff, we do have a TeePublic store. I fought. I have a design up there right now. Tiger Liger, the team of the 21st century. Eventually, we'll get the Take3 Wrestling NWO shirts up there. Waiting for Jim to help me out with that. Just saying.
Bro, chill out. You get them.
I said just saying. I didn't rush you. I was just saying.
Motherfucker, you'll get them.
Just saying.
Buddy, I'm aware we'll get them eventually. I'm not rushing you like Ernest. But
I'm good.
You can follow me at They Call Me Burn. You can follow all along over at Take3 Wrestling. And as I always say, when you're Take3 Wrestling, you're Take3 Wrestling for life.